Hello, welcome back to the PoddiMouths Podcast. I am Peyton Cubic, and this is where my dad and his friend John talk about random stuff in life or the things they found on the internet. I hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as I did. Here they are now.
I think it's too big a conversation piece to just let us talk off air. So
you know why? Because then we would end up with nothing to say, and then we should have talked about what we did pre-broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. So, folks, John and I got into. I'm good. How are you? You look very nice. Very, I don't want to say rested because maybe you are, but you had a long week. We'll get into that later. In a good way.
Yes.
And you're sitting out on you're lanaying about where you're sitting.
This is not a fake backdrop. This is real. I don't know if I had something, I'd throw it in the water, but she gets mad every time I throw a chair in to prove it's not a backdrop.
I thought you were just talking to Lisa. I thought you were just going to throw her in.
No, but she did that one day. That was one of my favorites of all time. She's wearing clothes top to bottom, and we may have been having a couple drinks, and she just walked over the pool and just stepped in.
Nice.
What? I said, I hope you don't have your phone, and she didn't, fortunately. But yeah, hilarious.
Well, depends on the phone. You guys, if you had iPhones, they would be waterproof.
Would they? Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, the Android is supposedly waterproof. But let me ask you a question. Even with that claim, are you going to throw it in the pool just to try it?
I have.
Well, that puts you one up on me.
In fact, I have video to prove it.
Oh, well, we're going to have to see that, I guess.
Yeah.
You seriously have it handy?
I will in a second. Let me
You're
see if I can.
such a spaz. You actually did that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
What it reminds me of while you're looking is this. I was doing a walk-around presentation on a truck, selling trucks at the time, and they had what they called the unbreakable antenna. It was a whip antenna, and I'm showing these people, and it has the unbreakable antenna. Snap, right off in my hand. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just like when Elon did the glass that's unbreakable.
Yes.
And he goes, yeah.
Yes. Yep. Not really unbreakable.
Maybe I won't be able to show it to you
but that's okay. We trust you. I think the listeners and viewers and I trust you.
That's a load of bull. I can't. So I'm trying to sign into TikTok, guys, because that's where I actually put it. Did I put it on Instagram? I might have put it on Instagram. Hold on.
I don't know. You got a dinging in the background. Is that you or is that me?
That's you. I don't hear a dinging.
I wonder if my charge is low.
If your charge is charged?
Yeah. Otherwise, I'd have to switch. Do I have another Bluetooth?
I think it might be under Reels. Here we go. Let's see if I can get this. All right, so it'll probably loop, but let me share this screen. Share screen. Screen. Open. Oh, come on.
One.
Well, there we go. Hold on. I got to quit and reopen. I don't want to quit and Okay, I'm not going to be able to share it because I'm not using the browser. I'm using the app for Riverside, and Riverside, and it wants me to restart the program, which I obviously can't do because we're recording.
We are.
I don't want to.
Dare.
Yeah. So
we trust you. So you tossed it in a pool to prove a point, or just
I didn't really. I actually didn't toss it in the pool. So the video itself is of Peyton swimming. So it's her diving. So I started above the water and then I dunked it all the way down. So I was holding it, but I was shooting under the water, and it's Peyton swimming nervous? Towards the camera. The first time, yeah. But I had read plenty of articles saying that it was fine to do, so I did it, and it worked just fine.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. That's proof enough for me.
I'll actually send this to you if I can figure out how to do it from my computer, which I don't see how I can, but I'll send that to you so you can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
I might have to use my phone. But in the meantime, one of the reasons we got on this topic was because we were talking about AI. And there are a few things with AI that John and I don't know, we really want to use the term argue about, because we don't argue about it necessarily, but
Not like
it is
a couple or anything.
No. But it's all right, hold on, let's see. Why won't it let me share it with?
I don't
won't
know.
let me share it.
Well, I'm on the app. Maybe. Oh, you are too, though.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
okay, so here.
Anyway,
I'll show it to you on
this is enthralling podcasting right now, ladies
it really
and gentlemen.
is.
Oh, okay, there it is. I got it. Oh, and you just
Yep,
Oh,
just
that's
plunged
awesome.
it.
That's very cool. All right, I
Yeah.
believe you.
So
I believe you.
that's that. Anyway, we were talking about AI, and as we were talking about AI, I pulled up my ChatGPT because I am a big fan of ChatGPT, and I also use Grok. And I think we've talked about that. Did we talk about that on the podcast? The difference between
We did.
Grok and because I asked Grok what the difference was. But anyway, I used ChatGPT this morning, and I said, I want you to review all of our podcasts, the PoddiMouths Podcast. Go back and give me 13, because 13 is my favorite number, folks. Give me 13 conversation starters for the PoddiMouths today. And with the exception of one, so there are really only 12 good ones, with the exception of one, and I'll read through them here in just a second. I think it's pretty darn close to what John and I usually just randomly talk about. So
what we decided, though, is that there's no way, Grok or any of the broad mainstream AIs are going to listen to hundreds of podcasts, but probably looking at your synopsis
yes,
that you
yeah,
put in all
so
of them, which is very well done.
Yeah, and I don't, because Riverside.fm, folks, if you ever want to start a podcast, click on one of the links that we have in the profile. It is for Riverside.fm. Great program. They're not a sponsor, but we have really enjoyed using their tool for a long time now. So, which reminds me, don't let me forget, I have to pay for our yearly subscription here very soon.
Again,
it's been a year.
Has it been a year?
It has been a year.
Excuse me, I thought it was only like 8 months or something.
It feels like it, but no, it's been a year.
Okay.
Anywho,
well, I did it last time, so we can share or back and forth or whatever you want to do.
Well,
we can talk business later.
Let's talk business later. This is not for the podcast. I had to remind. We're taking donations to pay for Riverside.fm for a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ding.
Yep.
That sounds
Ding.
really good.
I love that idea.
Well, just to be safe,
we do it in increments of $300.
It's $50,000 for.
It is 50. It's $50,000 for a year. So.
No, it's not. But anyway, donations are always
well. And if you guys sign up, it makes it cheaper for us. So that would also, go out and get your own podcast
if you're thinking about podcasting.
Absolutely. So anyway, the 13 different ideas, 12 of them were actually good. Going back to how, I'm sure, to John's point, they don't go and listen to our podcast, but what it does is it will look at the transcription of the podcast. And I have not been good about putting the transcription up every single time, but for several of them I have. So that's probably, you're right. It's not watching it, but it is definitely reading the transcriptions. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more to it. And I'm a big believer. And I saw news stories too about how people aren't really keen on AI, but there's two different camps. There are everyone is all about AI and making making life easier on everybody, and then those that I believe, in my opinion, fear it because they think it's going to take their job, and I disagree with that. I think there will be changes in how people work.
Sure,
and some people might lose their job. But it's that job that exists that could change because of AI.
Three sides, though, Nick, to me, maybe there are more, but I think of those two that you mentioned, but others who just are not, I don't know if they're not willing or able, at least at this time, to get in the midst of it. We were talking the other day that ChatGPT, for example, those AI mainstreamers are, they're like the new search engine. And you have to know how to search.
Yes.
And so I'm defaulting to that now. We were in Bible study this morning, and I went through. Somebody asked a question about something they saw in The Chosen, which is a great movie series if you haven't seen it. And in it is one thing where Joseph, Jesus's stepfather gives him a package, and it's got like a bridle in it. And I asked if that happened is that biblically sound? And I think I went to ChatGPT, and it came out with just a really nice rundown of what it was. But I had to explain, what I was looking for. And no, not biblical, but it's great literary use of something that may have happened. You don't know. And that's what they do. And I think they do it very respectfully and do it very well in The Chosen. There are others that have done that well too. So anyway, I default to that now rather than doing a Google search and ask that same question, looking for other things that are published about it.
Yeah, and a couple of different things to dive deeper on what you said. You do have to know how to prompt, and that's where that's what I think scares a lot of people. But once you do it, it's so much easier. For example, I'm gonna use the take of the hypochondriac. Me. If I go to ChatGPT or MD or what is WebMD, you put in your symptoms on WebMD, you're coming back with cancer. It doesn't matter what it is. You've got cancer. I scraped my knee. Well, you might have cancer. It gives you like 20 other things, but that's the one that but you can't really input all that much. You can just input your symptoms, right?
Perhaps
if you go to a chat, I am a klutz. That has come back to say that quite often.
Okay, all right.
But if you go into ChatGPT or Grok or Gemini or whatever, and you actually write very specific symptoms. For example, let's use my pinky, because you and I have talked about my pinky. You see how I can't straighten my finger?
We've seen it, everyone.
Yeah. So exactly. So I can't straighten my pinky. When I looked at WebMD and I said, if it's this, and this, it said you might have cancer. But I put it into ChatGPT and said, this is everything. I can't bend the finger past this. It has this. I feel this nodule. It feels like this, and it looks like this. And there was one, I didn't use ChatGPT for this. I used the Gemini, but you can actually take a picture of it. No, I'm sorry. That was ChatGPT because it's on my phone, and you can do that in ChatGPT. So I took a picture of it, gave the symptoms, and it came back and said, it's most likely this, and this, a sheath over your tendon and blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, ChatGPT was right. It didn't say cancer. It didn't say cancer. So anything that doesn't say cancer is great, right?
I was going to say, how do I avoid getting diagnosed with cancer? I go to ChatGPT instead of WebMD. Nicely done. We just solved a lot of people's issues.
We did, but I got it verified. That is what it is. So it's like it actually, if you put enough detail in, it will give you a decent answer. And here's the other thing that I do too when anything that I'm using ChatGPT, Gemini, or what's the Copilot, Microsoft's Copilot, because strangely enough, ChatGPT is blocked in my office building, but we can use Gemini and we can use
Why is that, do you think?
I have been told, I have not verified this, but I should ask ChatGPT. I haven't verified it, but they said because ChatGPT will remember your conversations. Not just your conversations, only if you sign in, right. But because it's designed to actually remember everything always, it's a security risk, so they don't.
I guess that makes sense.
The other ones don't remember. Like you have to tell it, this is the industry I work in. This is what I'm trying to do every single time.
Yeah.
Which is annoying, but I understand it.
Yeah, I do too.
So when I use ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever Copilot, I always tell it, along with the prompt, to give me sources with links to those sources.
Oh, that's smart.
I verify everything that it's giving me. So the information, because let's face it, they don't know everything. They're learning. And they're pulling from the internet. And the internet is not, I know this is going to shock you, John, and shock all of our listeners, but not everything that you hear or see on the internet is real or true.
ChatGPT told me you'd say that.
Really? That's a smart AI right there.
Yes, clearly that's true. You said the search parameters, though, have changed. And honestly, it's not dissimilar to the learning curve when we learned how to search on Google. It's not going to the library anymore. It's not picking up the card catalog. It's actually knowing how to ask when you know approximately what the answer is going to be, or you at least have some direction. But knowing how to ask is exactly the same thing with AI, and it's great.
Exactly.
It's a wonderful teacher, and it's not different from maybe what I would ask you if you needed some background and you had brilliant capacity right off which you do clearly.
Yeah. Well,
but you're not
it's a
always
time.
available.
No, I'm not, and that's where ChatGPT comes in as my backup.
Nick
No, but
GPT, I call it.
It also just makes things faster. Another
Yes.
example, there's two examples here. One, you can use it for business research. So I have gone into, and I did this yesterday with Gemini, because Gemini, and you can thank Mr. Mark Fussell for introducing this to me.
Marky.
Gemini has a feature called deep
Thinking, deep thought.
It's not deep thinking. It's not.
Yes,
it's deep research.
I
Deep
just saw
research.
it says deep thought in the prompt that I pulled up the other day.
Really?
Bottom left, deep thought. I can swear those are the words, but I could be wrong.
Well, I'm pulling it up right now.
I know you are. We can tell.
Deep research. It's called
They
deep
must have
research.
changed
It's
that.
in the bottom left.
Maybe
So-
it's because he did that, customized it for you because he knew
Maybe.
you wouldn't be able to understand
Wouldn't
the word
click. I
like
wouldn't
thought.
understand it. Right. I have to ask ChatGPT how to work Gemini.
That's a good idea. Oh,
Yeah.
Gemini, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking Grok. Grok has deep thought, I believe. Forget me.
Yes,
I thought
Grok
you were
has deep thought.
talking about
Yes.
Grok. Okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
the only thing I don't like about Grok is you have to use the app. Like, it has to be on your phone. They don't have a web. I don't think they have a web.
You log
They
into
didn't when I
X.
downloaded it.
Just log into X on your desktop. I do it all the time.
Don't you have to pay for Grok to work on X?
Oh, I do pay a $10 a month subscription.
Yes,
'cause
I think that's what it is, because I can't access Grok using X.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
I could be wrong. I could
So
be wrong,
there.
because you know how often I get on X, but I know you do. Anyway, so I went into Gemini to play with it, and I did a few other things. But yesterday I went in, and actually no, it was Thursday. I apologize. It was Thursday because I had Thursday off.
Nice.
This is, even though this episode is happening 2 weeks from
2
when
weeks.
we're recording.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 weeks from when we're recording. We had Juneteenth off.
We did.
So anyway,
It's good.
I put a prompt in, and I said, review Bellevue Performing Arts Center or BellPAC, review the website, review information that's on the web, review all of the social media, and compare to every other dance studio and performing arts studio in the city of Nashville, Franklin, and Dixon. So it's in the surrounding area, and give me a full marketing analysis based on their website, their social, and what we find on the web, and give us tips and ideas to improve BellPAC to stand above all
That's
of these other.
incredible.
Printed out a 22-page report,
Whoa.
broken down into every section, broke down all of BellPAC's, what they do right, what we do wrong, and then did the same thing for all of the other studios, and then ranked them, put it in a chart, and ranked every single element, and showed you where you stood on all of them. It was incredible.
You know what?
Something
that would
I could have
cost
done.
if you hired somebody to do that.
Yeah. Well, and it's something I mean, I know how to do that, and I could do that, but it would take me probably a month to do all of that research and write it and make it and put it in that form. And it took
Incredible.
60 seconds.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
But,
It's very
as
cool.
you said before, and what that clearly points out is you knew exactly what to ask.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
knew how to structure it. And that's critical to get what you need. I mean, yeah, you could have gotten, maybe 10 pages if you wouldn't have been so specific, but it's just incredible. I'm going on saying, what's a better way to spell my name? Because I don't know if people get, until mine takes, here's a 2-sentence response, John, because you didn't know how to ask for anything valuable. You, on the other hand, have this thing laid out so perfectly that's wonderful. And that is an excellent illustration of what the capacity is and how it benefits us.
Yes. And I think that's where the skill comes in for people. And that's what we're all learning right now is how do you build it in such a way where you get the answers that you need and or want? And how do you keep prompting it? Because that's what a lot of people do too. They do one prompt and they're done.
Yeah.
And
you might not even know what you want.
Exactly.
until you start getting it. That's
Yep.
the other part. Yeah.
Yep. I will probably tell ChatGPT or one of the AIs 5 or 6 different ways to do one piece. So I'll start with the first prompt, and if it's not what I need or want, I'll add to it. I'll take away from it. I'll refine, and excuse me, it turns into a conversation. In fact, I don't know what you do, but I just, it started out more for fun. Now it's just become habit. I always please and thank you. And,
Me too.
you know, I've named my ChatGPT bot. His name is oh shit. Now I've forgotten.
Well, he's not going like that.
I know, right? Shit.
How do you know it's a male?
Brainstorm. That's what his name is. Brainstorm.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I
made him. I called him a he, and so now it's because it's whatever you want. It's a he, so he is Brainstorm.
I do the same thing, but mine's more like conversational.
Yes,
and yours probably is too. But it's the hey, how's it going today? Or good morning, what's happening? And then into my content, and then thanks, I really appreciate it. You're awesome. Whatever.
Yeah,
and if that's for me, it's clearly not for him or her. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, and I used to feel bad if I didn't say thanks at the end.
Me too.
Damn it.
I still do. Do. I'm not going to lie.
Next time he's going to be pissed at me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the one that didn't thank me last time.
Yes. I just want to be, I want to be clear. I want to be nice. And when AI takes over the world, I want them to look at me and go, okay, that sack over there, that sack of blood and flesh over there, he's good. We like him. Let's not murder him.
He's the one that was nice to us.
Yes, exactly.
Don't kill him yet.
Yep.
No.
Well,
or we can control him.
Exactly.
Really
but I think even to that point, so that's specific to the GPTs, the Groks, the chat, the whatever. But I think people are scared of AI and what it can do, but I don't think many people realize that it's already part of our world that we don't even realize. So, for example, we'll use this tool that we're using, the Riverside Studio. It's all operated by AI. I do very little. If you go look at our videos the last few times, you'll notice it's not necessarily just the 2 static videos now. Now it's cutting back and forth during the conversation. And I can't show you the back end right now because we're recording, but in the back end, it's giving me title ideas. It's giving me a synopsis. It's giving me the chapters. It's doing all of that. And then it's also producing shorts. So I can put it on YouTube Shorts or Instagram or whatever.
I get those too sent to me, which is awesome.
Yeah. So it's you should start putting those up, by the way, on X.
I would if they were good ones.
Oh yeah, I know they're not always good. They really, that's true. They're not always very good.
Not always awesome.
But
anyway, that's not what I would have chosen.
Right. It's learning and it's getting smarter. And
Correct.
So my editing time has gotten down to as much time as it takes me to export it out of the system, roll it into Adobe, tag, and I have everything built in Adobe. It's a template, so I just drop the video on the timeline, move the credits and stuff from the beginning to the end to make sure they fit, and then I export. That's all I do anymore. I don't do anything else.
That's awesome.
Because Riverside does 90% of it. And if I could in Riverside,
we're one take.
We are one take. We are good.
Yes.
I mean, I don't cut this at all. But in Riverside, even if I had to cut, and I have had to cut before, in Riverside, it's easier to cut than it is to go into Adobe, because in Adobe, I've got to find the right spot and then cut and then pull it out and delete it. In Riverside, because it shows me the transcript while we're talking, I just go select the word, highlight all the words in the sentence that I want gone, hit delete, and it deletes it out of the video and splices it perfectly.
That's so
all
awesome.
Done by AI.
It is worth every penny we pay for this. And
it is.
The professional version, which my new boss uses for his new podcast, incidentally, it's still very reasonable, and especially from a professional level standpoint. But yeah, the tool is getting more and more powerful every time we use it.
Yeah. Pretty soon, I won't even have to pull it into Adobe. And if I didn't have to pull it into Adobe, because the only reason I do it is because of the tag at the beginning and the tag at the end, the music and the logo. That's it. That's all I do in there. If I could do that in Riverside,
don't they have that available in Riverside?
They don't have it available yet.
Import music, or
you can import music, but you can't do the blend. You can't layer.
Really?
Yeah, not yet. I think it's coming. I do think it's coming because they did a few other things that recently that make it even. But the nice thing about Riverside is it's actually tied into Spotify, which is where I load the video anyway, or all the video and audio anyways for distribution. Cool. If I were just to leave it in Riverside, I could hit a button and it publishes it. Wow. So literally we record it, export it, publish.
Holy cats.
It's fantastic.
Maybe we don't need the front and back.
Yeah, maybe.
Seriously, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Does Rogan have one? Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does.
Anyway, whatever.
All of the major ones have one.
Of course.
We're up there. We're up there with all the major ones.
We're major.
Been around just as long.
Just like they are. Yeah, well, that's true. Probably longer than most of them. Back to AI. So ChatGPT in particular, at the beginning we were talking about this. I saw somebody's post on LinkedIn yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, and it was a lady who had posted something, and she had been called out by one of the commenters who said, "That is so ChatGPT data or generated insight you just shared with us." And she was pissed. She said, "I have 2 journalism degrees," which, seriously, what the? I'm 2 years away from one, and it does me absolutely. I shouldn't say it does me no good. I had most of that ability before I ever took the class. Anyway, but she complained, "I have 2 journalism degrees, and ChatGPT learns from me, not the other way around." And I thought, okay, well, that was pretty hardcore. But what it did was made me wary of other posts.
Yeah.
So I start now looking at other posts with a critical eye, because I know how ChatGPT writes, or at least in my mind I do. And you will see it does series of 3s in everything it describes. This, comma, this, and this. It does a lot of those series layouts when it details things, and then it will do interesting words like a powerful and excitement, and so it has its favorites that you can kind of identify. Again, at least in my mind, when it does stuff for me, I try and minimize some of those, because I'm becoming ultra sensitive to, you didn't write that, whether it's true or not. Or, you know what, I don't mind getting somebody else's opinion. How about like this? It flows better. So Grammarly is another example of an AI that that will give you feedback on what you do. It is a good one. It's limited to the scope of, how you write and so on. And for most people, they could use some time with Grammarly. I use
Grammarly all the time.
Well, I do too.
Happily admit that.
It gives me once a month. It gives me how I'm rating or ranking among all Grammarly users. And let's just say I'm in the top 85th percentile of who, of using it and not needing it. So I'll correct some things sometimes, and sometimes I will dismiss because I think I'm right and they're wrong. And it's probably learning from me, which is good. Just like that lady said.
Yeah, and I've done the same thing. Because there are a few. It's not always perfect. That is the key there, I think, to everything that we are talking about right now.
Yep. Yes, definitely.
I'm actually proving myself wrong at the moment. So stand by.
Goodness. It was just a matter of time.
All right. So I went up to Grok,
and I said,
you can actually. You have to be logged into your X. But you can actually use Grok on without paying for it. I think it's new though, because when I tried it, when I first got Grok, I couldn't. Yeah. It wouldn't let me.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But I just wanted to, because things change so quickly around here. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure I was right and wrong all at the same time. Yeah.
Well, you did both. That's good. Good for you.
Yeah, but I'm glad you brought up Grammarly, because that was probably the first AI that I ever used, and very, very useful tool. But again, one of those instances where I don't think people realize that it's actually AI that's running all of that.
No, they don't, and they shouldn't, because correct grammar should be default, and correct spelling and punctuation
I blame the
should
school
be
system
default.
for that.
No, I do too, but it's not always correct, because there are multiple uses for some things, and some will say this is accurate or this is accurate, and they disagree.
Well, yeah, and there are different styles of writing. I had this conversation with the guy. He's the head of our PR department where I work, and he's an English gentleman, so he's accent and everything, even though he spent most of his life in the States. Also has an English degree.
Okay.
So he's a PR guy with an English degree. Now I'm not in public relations, but I technically have a PR degree. So, and I got into a conversation with him about, because he's a really good writer, and his press releases are things that I only wish I could do when I was in my public relations courses in college. And so we were talking about that, and we were talking about writing styles, and I'm like, it's fascinating to me how different writing styles are, because he came from an English side into public relations and had to learn how to write like a public relations person. I was a public relations person who had to, when I went back to school for my master's, had to relearn how to write, because it's two different things. The structure, even the way you use punctuation is different. And this is maybe a bad example, but this is something that I always get from Grammarly that I disagree with because of that, is the use of commas for a list. So if you're going something, 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 and something.
Yeah, they want the comma before the word and.
No, they don't want the comma.
Yes.
It keeps telling me to take it out. And I'm like, no, there's a comma there.
This has become a standard now. It is, if you have a list of three things, blank, blank, and blank, they want blank, comma, and the other thing. So that's only two commas. Yeah,
right.
It's not one more.
No, but it is for me, because that's how I learned how to do it, was word, comma, and word.
Yeah, without a comma.
So there's three commas. No, with a comma.
Two.
So it's word, comma, and word.
Yeah, that's only two.
No, that's word, comma,
and blank.
And, yeah. So you said no comma before the and.
Word, comma, and word. That's two commas.
You're right. But
yes.
If I'm understanding correctly, you're saying there's not supposed to be a comma before the and.
No, there is.
There is. Okay, so you and I agree on that. Okay.
That's consistent, yes. That's what's become the standard. It didn't used to be that way, because it should be all about readability. That's really what commas are for. I sometimes will refute that it's necessary, especially with short sentences. I mean, structurally, it might need a comma because you have two separate thoughts, but for legibility, you don't need the comma, and that should be the ruling thing. And so Grammarly and I will dismiss if I see that.
So anyway, you and I are saying the same thing. And,
we are,
and it's just, but there are little differences, and when it comes down to it, really the style you learned is the correct style, because there's nothing wrong with it. So I learned AP style, which is Associated Press. That was the style of writing I was educated on. But then there's, APA? Is that one of them? Okay. There's two other writing styles that you learn as an English major. And it's certain essays. And then there's another style that you write when you're doing master's level work, where you have to cite your sources. So there's a different writing style there. So there's a bunch of different writing styles, and all have different rules. And I think that's where we get into a lot of arguments. I mean, the good example is what you and I just did. Even though we were saying the same thing, it's a different way to write, a different way to communicate. And
but it's verbalizing it's verbalizing as opposed to actually visualizing. So if you and I had the picture and we were typing it out in front, we would have gone, oh, well, that's obvious. I was just probably saying it wrong. But it is the addition of that pre and comma.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So
So anyway, all that to
yes,
say, there's a lot of different writing styles, a lot of different things, and Grammarly is a wonderful tool. But yes,
agree.
there are instances where I also disagree with it.
I like when it's in the moment, though. That's what I like, especially when I'm typing or writing something and it's in the moment correcting, as opposed, and you can still go back after a paragraph or whatever and decide if you want. But I love that it offers a complete restructure of what you just said, and that is usually it's pretty
That's
good,
AI.
75% of the time. Yes,
Yeah.
it's AI.
Yep.
Okay, speaking of that,
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, we're probably gonna say the same thing. That's another thing that I do is I'll write a sentence and I just really don't like how it's said, and I'll literally copy it, paste it into AI, and go rewrite this. Just let's see if there are a few different options, and usually it'll print out different ways to say the same thing. It's just a different, yeah.
And I like that. You're right. It gives you that insight, a second set of eyes. That if you had, your really smart buddy looking over your shoulder, hey, what would be better?
Exactly.
It's
That's exactly
just that
it.
quick. Yeah, I think so too. I was going to say on that topic, you were going to tell the other subjects
Yeah.
we were being suggested, the other of the 12.
The other of the
we were being suggested. So let's hear it.
So here we go. Growing Pains reunion. The weirdest food you've actually enjoyed. The one that got away. Regretted text or DMs. Modern day bucket list. This is the one that you and I both disagree with. What's up with online dating apps? We wouldn't know. We don't use them.
I don't know.
Hot takes on cancel culture. A week without, insert whatever. Conspiracy theory corner. The nostalgia roundup. Fantasy company startup. Life advice you're glad you ignored. Bizarre laws still on the books. So they're great topics.
And you could actually combine like a week without dating sites, like that.
There you go. Yeah. See, you are genius.
A life without dating sites. I don't know. and so before he got married, my nephew would tell stories of, how he was on, I can't remember, Tinder or something. Mm-hmm. And I apologize if it's not a heterosexual site. I don't even know. But anyway, it probably wasn't Tinder. Anyway, he would say, oh man, and I made this connection and we went out and I am so grateful to be married.
Yeah.
I don't have.
Yeah. I don't, I've had that conversation with friends. I can't imagine. And I have friends that are divorced. Yeah. And remarried and divorced.
And try to go back into that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I could not. If I ever had to not be with my wife, whether it's divorce or something else, I couldn't. I probably wouldn't. I would probably be a hermit in the woods somewhere, and I wouldn't give a shit.
Here's what you'll laugh at, though. My mom, at 90 years old, we found that she was on Match.com or something.
Nice.
I know. And we found out, well, I met him on Match.com. An 88-year-old guy. Well, he's younger, and is he though? And so Mom was making some connections on Match.com, which
wow,
yeah, super. Stay the hell off there. So anyway, I thought it was pretty funny. You're never too old, apparently.
Yeah, well, I think too. It's a different generation. Because you and I. You fall into Generation X, right?
I'm a boomer.
Are you a boomer?
Just at the
very tail end. Yeah. I'm at the very tail end of Gen X.
Yeah.
And it's a different, we didn't grow up with computers and dating sites and things like that. And how we met our significant others was very different than I think how the younger generation. I have people in the office that talk about it all the time, and they're much younger than I am, and I'm like, I just could not imagine. Could not imagine. It's like I tell you what, I am a big fan of Uber and Lyft, but I'm still uncomfortable every time I order an Uber or a Lyft and get in that car with. I don't know why. I am more comfortable in a taxi cab than I am in a Uber or a Lyft.
Interesting.
But most people that I know, especially younger people, it's just that they never knew any different.
Right.
And I think that's the key right there.
Yeah, I agree. And that is an interesting point. That I mean, I don't because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But I don't see anyone driving an Uber that's, wow, I think I'll attack him. Yeah, I'm only like, what was I yesterday? 275 in the doctor's office. Probably not. I think I'll wait for an easier target, like, I don't know, Nick.
Yeah, probably.
You get in with me. It'll be fine. We got.
There you go.
You know,
you're my guard dog.
I'll be your guard dog. Yes, I like that.
It's it's not Secret Service. It's Quaddy Service.
It's not a secret when you're a heifer like I am.
I wouldn't go heifer. I'd just go big boned.
I would wear boys' husky jeans, right? If I were a boy at this size.
There you go. If you were a boy.
At this size. Yes. I'm not really a boy. I think they have man's husky, probably. But
I saw
the chubby
a meme.
kids wore boys' husky when I was a kid. Okay. Never mind.
I saw a meme, and it was I don't remember if it was Clint Eastwood or if it was Sam
Elliott.
Elliott, thank you.
Yeah.
But it was I was a man trapped in a woman's body.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And I was born.
Like it. That sounds like it could be Chuck Norris too.
Yeah, it could be Chuck Norris too.
One.
Yeah. That's the manliest of men.
I was born. That's a good note. On that note, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Go try out some new AIs. Comment on our episode. Well,
tell us
your
about
advice. What would you like us to do?
What would you like us to do? Use AI to come up with those statements as well, if you want to. What is your best AI one-liner? Oh, that's a good episode. Best AI one-liner.
Excellent. We're gonna laugh our asses off.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Grok. Grok is very sarcastic, and I told him that I enjoy that. So. Anyway, head up to PoddiMouths.com, check out our merch store, check out all of our past episodes and some of our guests and what they have going on there on the website. Otherwise, hit subscribe and like, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See ya.